I pressed record on my MP3 thing, so I already did. I'll fucking sync it. It's okay. It's no big deal. All right, so we're recording. Oh, something just did you?
Yeah, well, I'm recording still right now.
Did something disconnect though? Did you get that duh sound?
I did hear that. I don't know if
Okay.
that maybe it would.
I don't know. All of my shit's still connected, so this is some great video. This is Slashers, your new favorite podcast about your new favorite horror media. My name is Jake, and with me, as always, are my esteemed colleagues, co-hosts, and cohorts, Doug and Adrian. Gang, say hello to the mutant goons from beyond.
Hey, mutant goons, are you excited to play with foot fungus today?
Oh, yes. Hi, guys. It's Aid, and this ain't no game that we're talking about today. Oh.
I was very sure to make sure I introduced it Doug and then Adrian because I didn't want it to be AD because the primary crux of this film is very BC. Oh, because we're still in Julyssic Park about 65 million years ago.
Hey, that was pretty good.
Aww.
Make sure you get paid for that song next time.
Seriously, I jingle all the way, baby. Gang, what are we talking about this week?
Oh, this one is an underrated, very underrated, and I have a few choice words for you listeners later. But no, we're talking about Super Mario Brothers, the movie adaptation that everyone seems to hate, but no one's ever watched.
You said you have a couple words. Are the words suck and it? Because you just reminded me of D-Generation X.
Oh no, I'll get to it when I get to it. Look at me, I've got production notes. And
damn, son.
I made words and notes after rewatching this again, so we'll save it.
So we had talked about a lot of shit for this episode. At one point, we were going to do a dinosaur-themed video game month. And so, Adrian, you're a huge Yoshi fan. Is that right?
Yes. And in fact, I still have my Yoshi notes in the drive, but we'll never get to use them, I guess.
Pepper them in this shit. Because that's one of the things is like, I was looking at other games and like, I love Dino Crisis 2. Probably my favorite like straight dinosaur game ever. And I was still like, man, Yoshi has like a lot of fun that you could talk about. And then I was like, why the fuck aren't we doing Super Mario Brothers? It's about dinosaurs, baby.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I'm really excited that we did this because I haven't watched it, I don't even know, like since I was like a kid. So I was so excited. I was so happy to watch it. And I was just getting getting it ready and everything. And Dan's like, I've never seen it. And I'm like,
you didn't have a childhood, fuck boy.
How the fuck have you never seen this movie? It's it's literally the best movie. I had the biggest crush on John Leguizamo, who just had a birthday, by the way.
I mean, I still do. Dress him up like Tu Wong Fu. I'll put a dick in him.
Yeah, he does make a pretty girl. That's true.
Yeah, he's not bad. Well, actually, he makes a good little boy in a dress, according to Wesley Snipes. Yes, I have that movie fucking memorized. I'm a huge fan.
Well,
that's only the best movie.
I don't think you'd feel the same after you see him in The Pest, which is another movie I love.
Oh, God, I hate that movie so much, dude. We did that for April Fool's Month 2 years, whatever, wow. Have you watched it recently, Doug?
I have, yes, and I love it. It's even more stupider than I remember. Yeah, I mean, it's just so...
How?
It's like, love, peace, and chicken grease. It's like, it's so stupid.
And when he starts doing, like, the yellow face Asian routine, and you're just like, oh, God, this is so frustrating.
Oh, yeah, what was he doing? He said, oh, yeah, Mr. Boy, I bring the chicken. Like, you know what I mean? He's playing all, like, this... It's actually, the DVD, if you look on the back where it has the rating... On the back, it says, like, you rated PG-13 for extreme racial stereotypes.
Yeah.
So I'm like, wow, that's the first time I've ever seen
God.
that.
I haven't either. I mean, Jesus, I've seen American History X. I don't think that's in the rating. Ayo.
Oh, well, it was 97. You could get away with a lot more back then, I guess.
But this film was 93. And the version that Adrian and I watched, I don't know if you did, Doug, was the new Farkle, Joe Jangles Bangles, the Jankel Morton cut, which was created by fans of this movie. So we are not alone. And if you're listening to this podcast, you are not alone. Spoiler alert, the three of us fucking love this movie.
Yeah, well, that makes me feel bad because I got my old DVD from like the early 2000s.
But Doug, that's great because after this episode, you're going to be pumped, right? You're going to be jazzed. Go on to archive.org, put in the Morton Jankel cut, of Super Mario Brothers, and you get an extra 25 minutes of content. And one of the things I really loved, I know that some people who aren't like into film production might think it's kind of jank, but you can see where it has like the production timeline on the bottom and it looks different. And a few times you could even see where the AI is trying to reconstruct faces because the underlying film is so degraded. But as a fan of film, I fucking love it. Because what's really of consequence in a lot of the scenes is just like an extended shot, but it sets a completely different tone and pace and rhythm, and it just feels so right. It took a movie I loved and like made me lust for it and love it. I want to make love to this movie.
Yeah, no, I definitely enjoyed it. I had to watch the majority of it on my phone because I tried to stream it on the TV and it just was not doing
on
it
the
for
TV.
Me. But, on the big TV, yeah. So, oh my God, my green screen's falling. I guess you can't see. Oh, it's fine. You can't see it, so it's okay. But it is really cool. And like, I was able to, I like that you could differentiate so that you can tell exactly what it is that you missed because, you know, most of us haven't watched this in how many years. So how would you, to be honest with you, there's so many things I didn't even remember.
Oh, yeah?
Like the fungus. How could I forget the fungus? Like I forgot about the fungus helping them.
It is literally the backdrop of the entire movie, and you forgot it?
I know. Well, I always remember the big thing coming out, like the head.
Okay, let me interrupt you. Doug, when you suck in your tummy, are you able to pull your nuts up?
I can try, or they kind of get sucked in when it's like a hot day. I'm like, there they are.
That's one of the things I've always been able to do. If I suck in my gut, I can pull up both my nuts, my left better than my right, even post vasectomy. And the king fungus reminds me of my own scrotum each and every time I've ever seen this film.
Oh man, well, you better get that checked out. That's prolapsed.
I literally did. I had a woman tying them together with scalpels and needles a month ago. Am I only a month post vasectomy? All my bruising's gone. It doesn't look like a mutated sea slug anymore. It just looks like a small dick now.
Got
him.
Oh man, well, that sucks.
Now I have to ask Dan.
Have I told the story on the show about going on a blind date? I used to joke about having a small, or maybe it's not a joke. I used to just talk about having a small dick all the time, right? And literally my friend set me up with her friend. And at the end of the date, it was just a fine run-of-the-mill date. She kissed me, shoved her hand down my pants, grabbed my cock, and nodded her head, and then drove off. And the next day, my coworker friend was like, oh, I won't tell you if it was a joke or if it wasn't a joke, but the fact that they went to such great lengths to find out my not that great length, wow, very touched. Literally.
Well, I hope she at least.
I think you were just assaulted.
No. Well, she didn't go to town on it or nothing. So I mean, it was just it's like a sizing it up.
She just.
I thought that was just.
I feel like it's long overdue for a guy to get taken advantage of like that with all the gross men I've seen at hardcore shows and mosh pits. I'm like, yeah, go ahead, cop a feel. It's fine. Paying it forward.
Well,
yeah, just those BDSM ones. Now it's like, hey, you got to make sure you wear your Doc Martens in there, and that's your self-defense. It's like let's see if you're really punk. We're gonna wear these Doc Martens. You take your pants down, we kick you in the nuts, and see how bad you bleed.
Yeah,
but like, I don't know. Like, I wouldn't need to do that. I look at your limbs. Like that's how I can tell if you have a big dick or not. And it's true because I was just watching that show Sex Life on Netflix. It's not horror, but everyone should watch it because it was so fucking good. And they showed the main guy naked in the shower, and his freaking dick was like down to his knees, and like he's super like long, like everywhere else.
Yeah, but then you've seen Bedazzled with Brendan Fraser, and his dick is super tiny when he's huge. That's the one thing I remember from that movie.
No, but he doesn't have long, it's like a lankier, I don't know. I've seen a lot of dick, I guess.
You dingus. And that's not the movie from the 90s we're talking about. We're talking about the extended cut from May 28th of 1993. And people are wrong. This will fascinate and disturb all of you. Wikipedia is wrong. IMDb is wrong. TV tropes, all of these places. You're assholes. You know why? Because these people say this is the first feature-length video game movie. No, it is not. I've already talked about the first feature-length video game movie, albeit not in a full episode because nobody would download it because I'm a metadata whore.
Cyber Ninja. You remember me yelling at you about how much I love Cyber Ninja or Mirai Ninja Quigo Gumo Kinin Gaiden, which is to say Future Ninja Stealth Cloud Joy Device Side Story is the first, and it's really good and you should watch it through whatever nefarious means you can because it's not streaming anywhere.
Well, you want to know, for all you haters out there, I got one word for you, so pay attention closely. The ones who say, oh, I didn't see Super Mario Brothers because the nostalgia critic took bad about it. You know what I mean? Like that type of person. I'm like, well, have you seen the fucking movie? No, I just know it's bad. Well, listen to me here closely. You no fun having beanbag chewing, prolapse anus having, blue ball sucking, rosebud derriere having, used condom eating, tater tot licking, old lady tit sucking, finger up their Peter Popper piece of boring shit. Yeah, that's what you are. So actually watch the fucking movie before you judge it, assholes.
So it's one
That's going on a t-shirt.
Yes, a run-on sentence.
Yeah, no, send me that in a message and I'll put that on a shirt. That's delightful.
Oh my God, that needs to be on a shirt. I will buy that tomorrow.
Or $1. Zing.
Yeah, we'll get 2 cents commission.
That's amazing,
Yeah,
though.
well,
No, good job.
Yeah, that was really good. I'm impressed.
Well, it was the coffee that wrote it.
Mm.
Like how Stephen King said, oh, I didn't direct Maximum Overdrive, cocaine did.
Yeah, dude. He and Alice Cooper are the two guys who I know who are like straight-laced white dudes, really booky, but also through substance abuse just don't remember like wide swaths of their life. Like Alex Cooper was like, I just don't know years. He would wake up and he would take a shot before he'd even open his eyes. But then he listened to him now and he's like a golf grandpa. I love it.
Aw, that's so cute.
So the budget of the film estimated $42 million to $48 million. There was a kind of bidding war when it came to the Super Mario rights. And one of the things that's really interesting that I think a lot of people are going to kind of lose to history, a lot of people view Nintendo as this big evil company now, right? They're kind of getting the Activision treatment, people mocking them, rooting for the Switch to die because of the Steam Deck and all that. And that might be, but we're talking about 90s Nintendo where they were really concerned about quality. And so like when it came to licensing Mario for comic books, they didn't go with Marvel, who was notorious for licensed books at the time. They went with Valiant Comics. And when it came to the movie, they could have gone to big studios, but they went to Leitmotiv because Leitmotiv at the time actually had like a good reputation. And we'd learned now that that was wrong, but it was good then. It made $38.9 million at the box office. And when you factor in the costs of promotion, Jesus Christ.
Well, I mean, they were taking a big risk on here, too, because the thing is, this was like right around Super Mario Brothers. Like, there is no fucking story. It's like, how am I going to make a story out of these pixels that's a flower, a plumber, and a little brown thing that moves around on the floor? It's like, what am I going to do with this? So they took a big risk, and I don't know. I like to see this as like a mix of like Blade Runner and an episode of Cow and Chicken.
That is huge. And that's why I love the Morton Jankel cut, because one of my all-time favorite films is Blade Runner. You can see the tattoo for it. I love Blade Runner, and I love all the cuts of Blade Runner. I even love the one where Harrison Ford has the shitty voiceover. I just love it. I love the world. And this is the same fucking thing. It's just a different cut, and I get more of the world. And I always thought that, this was basically like if you took the Blade Runner set and you combined it with like, I don't even know. Hold on, I haven't had a note about this. Hold on, crazy. So this is my comment. I typed this as I'm watching the movie. DINOhattan is like Blade Runner and Batman Returns raw dogged on an arcade cabinet of Crazy Taxi.
That's a lot of Static Shock.
It's real.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Very nice.
Well, I mean, okay, let me ask you a serious question. Would you show your kid this, and would they enjoy it?
I would show it to them. They would not enjoy it. It takes way too long. It's not kiddie fun. A 13-year-old totally could see liking this, but that short attention span doesn't make any sense. Like they'll be looking at it and going like, huh? And this, it is actually somewhat subdued when it comes to like Iggy and Spike. The fact that they're not like visibly dinosaurs and stuff. I feel like little kids who don't care won't analyze that, you know? Like when I was a kid, I cared, but I remember in talking to my friends and like viciously defending this movie because I liked this movie my whole life. And I had friends who poo-pooed it their whole lives and being like, well, what about the dinosaur guys? They're great. Fisher Stevens, Doug.
Yeah,
Short
I
Circuit.
saw that. I didn't even recognize him when I first seen this movie. I'm like, oh my God, it's Ben.
Yeah, it's awesome. And he's a good actor and I love it. But that was one of the things is like I had gone into this movie having seen Short Circuit 2 and being a fan of that actor. So I gave him extra attention. And I feel like a lot of kids won't. And then the narrative kind of gets lost. And if the narrative gets lost, you don't care because you're just seeing very minor references to the video game instead of the overarching thing, which is a very impressive way of stringing together. Like Doug said, how the fuck do rock bullets and little bob-ombs and Shy Guys and flowers, all those things mix?
Yeah. And I think at the time for when we were growing up, like Mario was such a big part of our lives. I don't really know how kids feel about Nintendo now because there's Fortnite and there's all the other big whatever shit I things I can't play because I just don't have the coordination for. So like I feel like the big hype with Mario and loving the game because we have the Super Nintendo and like there's like one of the levels that I could always beat like with my eyes closed and I literally would wake up and just play it really fast for like 5 minutes and then like go about my day. So I was super excited about the movie and I was so happy to see it. I think I was like only six or seven when I was around 6 years old when I saw it. So like I got it, but then again, I feel like it was more in our faces back then versus now. I don't know what kids do now.
Well, I think, and this is an interesting part, it was fresh then versus now it's just part of the zeitgeist. Like people just like know who Mario is. But even then, like when I was a kid, I didn't really realize that Pauline, I remember feeling let down as a kid because it wasn't Princess Peach. But then when you know, Pauline is Mario's first girlfriend. She's from Donkey Kong in 81. Like she has since made a resurgence. So it's one of those things of like, us honoring tradition and stuff, like little kids might actually get that more, even if it's not like fresh, because it's just part of what they grew up with, right?
Mm-hmm. For sure. And it's just like little things about the movie. I really like how they reinterpreted a lot of the characters to make them fit for this, for the movie, right?
Yeah.
Like because
100%.
you could make the Goombas with the little chicken nugget things, right? But then they're not as menacing as they are in the film.
Are they though?
Well,
because that's what I love about them is that like, so this movie is very much like Gremlins 2 to me, where it's antagonistic, right? A Goomba is all head, little feet, nothing else. Mm-hmm. And this, it's like all body, virtually no head. And as a kid, I was like, wow, that's hilarious. And my friends were like, that doesn't even make sense because when he jumps on him, it's supposed to be it's only a head.
Well, I mean, that's the same thing with like Toad. Anyone expect Toad to be like the stoner musician?
The swirly head and hair.
You know who that is, by the way? That's Mojo Nixon for all you rockabilly people out there. Yeah, so it's funny. He went from doing this to singing a song. He's like, now I'm going to take you back to a time when all women had motors in their pussies and all men drank liquor for asses. You know what I mean? Like he's real like rockabilly. So if you ever listen to him, if you've ever played Redneck Rampage on the PC, they used a lot of Mojo Nixon's music. That's how I heard about him. And then I realized I'm like, oh fuck, he's Toad in Super Mario Brothers.
Oh my god,
he's very much got that like Roger Allen Wade energy.
Yeah, real vulgar too. Funny,
which is the best. I have to give props where it's due when it comes to the extended cut. The predominant like factor was Garrett Gilchrist did a lot of it. And I think it's a thankless chore. A lot of people would never even notice that there's a difference. And I was thinking like how you would even track it, right? Like you have two screens on at the same time. And when they go out of sync, you start tracking which is which. Like it's so bizarre to me and it's so amazing. And it's such a labor of love. He obviously can't monetize it, but did you know his isn't the only love labor that has come out since this film?
Do tell.
Oh.
So I know y'all be loving this shit right when Daisy's at the end and she's like, "Great Scott!" Well, it ends on a cliffhanger that is never unhung. But
I know.
The guys who run, I think it's smbmovie.com, whatever. It's an archive of everything about this film. They helped, along with one of the writers of the film, Parker Bennett, whatever, with artist Eric Donovan, and then you had Stephen Applebaum and Ryan Haas. They created a fucking webcomic to supplant what would happen. Hey, Dan, how's it going, kissy face?
Jake said hi.
Mwah.
Sorry.
Let's get that butt on camera.
You
I
broke the
know.
illusion. Now Super Mario Brothers aren't in the background anymore. What the hell?
Oh, are they out?
Yeah.
That's like
You know,
my screen.
I gotta say too, this is I love the cast because it's very diverse. And it doesn't care. Like, you know what I mean? Like Bertha, she's a black woman. Then you got John Leguizamo playing Luigi. You know, I think he's Cuban, right? Is it Cuban or Puerto Rican?
He's Colombian.
He's Colombian. Okay.
Yeah, I was looking it up today, and I was like, oh, I didn't know he was Colombian.
I was thinking of what he said in the past. He's like, oh, I'm this and this and this and this, and now I'm blind. So,
He just turned 57, too. I'm like, oh my God, we're all getting old.
yeah, we're getting old. But hey, they got the money. They could pay for their graves. So
He could do the HGH like Sylvester Stallone and still have an 8-pack. You can fuck off.
yeah.
But anyway, the comic book, it doesn't end. It similarly had the same problem that the movie did, where it never got to full completion, but the first arc of it is a nice little like end to the story there. So check that out. It's fucking free. Again, something just like the extended cut you can't monetize because somebody else owns it, even if they're not doing anything with it. And let's move on, shall we? Can we talk about these assholes who directed this film?
Sure. I didn't really look at anything. Oh, I did see that the one guy did directed an orgy video.
That's what it was very in vogue. If you remember stuff like Pet Sematary in the 90s, to take a music video director and give them a movie. And I can give you a prime example of why that's a bad idea. Have you heard of this thing called The Amazing Spider-Man and The Amazing Spider-Man 2? Mark Webb came from the music video world. His music videos were good. His Spider-Man movies were not good.
I like
Patently
them.
not good.
The ones with Andrew Garfield.
He is fine. He is
They
fine.
were good.
The narrative
What's wrong
story
with
makes no
them?
sense. The special effects are bland. The costume is terrible in the first one. The costume is redeemed in the second one, but then the plot is so stupid in the second one, it makes me want to die. But that ties into another point I want to make. Can we get better? Well, we'll put a pin in it. Just remember Marvel. Jake will eventually mention Marvel.
Marvel.
Rocky Morton, Annabel Jankel, married people who fuck each other and fuck over others. And nobody has a kind thing to say about them from the set of this film. Have you seen some of the commentary from people like Dennis Hopper and Bob Hoskins?
Oh yeah, they drank themselves at the end of the day. Yeah, which I'm like, I wouldn't want to deal with that either. But they must have paid them pretty significant money because the budget of this is pretty crazy.
Well, it also one of the huge issues. So like even their own agents had them go off set at one point because it was such a toxic environment, and there was talks about replacing them and just logistics of trying to get that done with the set pieces that they had and everything. It would just collapse everything. So everything was already behind schedule, but starting over would basically not work either. So everybody just hated them. Hoskins called it, and I quote, a nightmare. Hopper called it a nightmare. Leguizamo wrote openly in his book that they just, they would just drink themselves to the point of absurdity so they didn't have to deal with these people. But, it's like I have a question. Is there sense in the madness? Is this like Stanley Kubrick firing a gun to scare Shelley Duvall because it made something amazing? Or is it just an example of a broken clock being right twice a day?
I think the latter.
Yeah, I kind of think so.
Well, that's interesting because I like the things that I read. I didn't like. I was reading that everybody hated working on the movie, but I never did nothing that I saw. But I didn't really dive deep into it. I didn't know that it was because of them. So, like, what did they do? Like, did you find out what they did?
Well, nobody knew. Like, the left hand doesn't know what the right hand's doing. So one side is saying when you do this, 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 and the other side saying when you do that, and it's just inconsistencies, and that causes delays. And they were apparently very hostile and openly admonishing people, and they were not very polite, and they were very pompous. And Bob Hoskins, they did not know a fucking thing. Hoskins went to his grave saying that this movie is the worst thing he ever did. I don't think it is, but
No. I don't know. And
no, I was going to say, I mean, it's probably different for them. If you have such a bad experience, I'm like, well, I just had such a bad experience. I'm not going to watch the movie.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That probably never watched the movie after it. They're like, okay, this is I don't care. It's a time.
just
He
brings
also
up-
didn't care about the source material. He didn't even know Mario was a video game thing until his son told him. But his son likes the movie, so that's something. That's a nice little keepsake for your dadsies.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I think it gets too much hate, and I don't know why, because it's a good movie. So
I think it's very ambitious, and here's where I want to cue this in. When we get to the writing, we got Parker Bennett, we got Terry Runte. They write this fucking script, and it's weird, and it's thievery. They openly reference stuff like Back to the Future and Ghostbusters, quote unquote, heavily borrowing from. So they're open and they admit that. But they do something crazy ambitious. And I think, and correct me if I'm wrong, I think this ages remarkably well compared to stuff like Marvel. And what I mean by that, I always talked about my frustration with Marvel movies is like, being incorrect by a degree. It doesn't immediately matter. What matters is 4 miles down the line when you're a whole swath away, right? Because it's just those little degrees end up becoming big things versus this is just a different interpretation and the wildly ambitious nature. I can never see Disney allowing anything like this to happen. And technically they owned Buena Vista at the time, so they actually could have had a say in this. This will never happen again, I don't think, in our lifetimes.
Oh no, never. I mean, that's the great thing about this movie. There's so many like weird, sleazy shots too. Like when they go to the police station and they got like the hooker legs around the chief. I'm like,
right?
Yeah, Disney. Cause I think this movie's PG-13. No, it's PG.
it's PG. Yeah, but again, that was like the time, right? We were subjected to all these terrible things back then. That's what makes us now. Yay.
Well, actually, let me look at it because I wonder what Cool World was rated. I thought that was only PG as well, and that gave me my first boner, I think.
No, Cool World was PG-13. I remember that.
Hello.
I think so. Well, I had the tape. I remember seeing that too.
It did get a PG-13. You're right, Doug. Well, it makes sense. I saw one of the first comic book characters give me a boner. I was found on archive.org where you could find this. You can find full issues of Wizard magazine. It was a redheaded super creature named Dawn. And I was very young and impressionable, and she had red hair. And 2 other assets I'll mention.
And she had dental floss thongs, right?
Yeah, that's not what was being assessed at the time, but yes.
All right.
Never owned a copy of it, but I certainly put that Wizard magazine through use and abuse.
You open it up, the pages stick together, and it sticks to your hand.
God. I hate
Feel
you.
like I'm Spider-Man sticking to the roof. God damn it!
And then when your friends come over, it's like, here, I got the newest issue of Wizards for you here.
Like, I'm going to go give myself carpal tunnel syndrome in your mom's bathroom. So they bring in another guy, Ed Solomon, who's like having to rein this whole thing in and cut like huge things because it was over budget by over $25 million. And so he gets a writing credit only insofar as he's like, this doesn't make sense. You can't do this. It's not allowed. We don't have the money for it. But I think that there's some dumb stuff like DINOhattan versus Manhattan, but the overarching like creation of this thing is really fascinating and good and kind of like Dark City and stuff. Like, what would you guys compare this to?
Well, I mean, like I said, Blade Runner before, and then it's honestly, every time I watch this movie, I think of Cow and Chicken. Like when they're driving the cars and they just crash into each other and they like that's their parking. Yeah, I mean, it's actually more of a dinosaur film than Tammy and the T-Rex. So there you go.
100%.
Oh yeah.
Almost every creature in this is a dinosaur. It just happens to look fleshy.
And fungus.
It's very nostalgic. I remember my cousin had it on VHS, and all of us would just sit around and watch it all the time. It's so good. Like it's just a fun movie. Like there's not a part. Everything is so interesting. Like even the dynamic. Like it's so sweet that that Mario raised Luigi and all this stuff, and like it's just a sweet little plot line with Daisy and Luigi and all of that. So it's I don't know. It just makes me happy. I was just like, I don't think there's like one part. The only part I don't like is when I always get teary eyed when Dennis Hopper Koopa kicks Yoshi when he kicks him.
You're really about to cry right now.
What? I know, I'm gonna cry. And then
Not
and
when
then,
he gets stabbed?
and when
Yeah,
Lena
this-
stabs him, yeah. Well,
Okay.
the kick comes first, and then he's stabbed later. And I'm like, oh my god, like everybody Yoshi.
That's why
And
I'm
I was
vegan. Fun fact.
I was holding Stella, and I'm like calling Stella Yoshi all night last night. I'm like, my little Yoshi. So yeah, I don't know. It's super cute. It's just a good. And then the one chick who's like that's kidnapped and never puts down her cigarette is like the funniest thing to me. Like,
Yeah, and like that's clearly these people had never written a children's movie because like you don't do that. There's a cut part where she's trying to heckle the Goomba into smoking a cigarette.
yeah.
She is literally peer pressuring a villain into smoking, and the villain is like, "No, thank you, I'll pass." Bad shit. I love it.
Oh, it's so good. It's so good. Like the extended cut makes it so much better, and it's like you're watching a new movie for like you're watching this with like a fresh take. It's so nice. So
And what's great too is
definitely recommend
Dennis
it.
Hopper as well. I call him Mr. Exposition, but
Yeah.
he tells the whole thing like I was here this many years ago and they happened to get the crystals down here. But he's basically playing just the Trump version of Lefty from Texas
Yep.
Chainsaw Massacre 2. So,
100%.
yeah, the whole thing. He even says the same line: "Boys, boys, boys." I was waiting for him to say,
Yeah.
"I'm the Lord of the Harvest," but
Oh my
Well, when
god.
he is like quite literally yelling the exposition, I even have a note where it's just like listening to a boomer yell about like the good old days or something, where it's like this rehearsed thing where it's the same shit. And Fiona Shaw is so good as his like lackey Lena. And she has this look of like eagerness, but then she's also playing it two-faced because underneath there's this like simmering disdain of like, I've heard this 50,000 times. Why are you telling this to me? Which I love because in a movie, why are you talking about exposition to somebody who knows it? You're talking to us as the audience. But in this, they contextualize it with he just does this all the time. He just says the same routine over and over again, and she just hates it. But she still craves that alligator dick.
yeah, it's crazy. Yeah, I was watching this and like, man, they really gave him he was Boris Johnson too. So it's crazy. But here's the thing: when I was watching this again, I'm like, so when kids saw this and they knew Yoshi, they knew Koopa. Well, not Gozer. What's his name?
Bowser.
Yeah,
Well,
Bowser.
Bowser's the king. Yeah, Koopa is him, which is just a race of creatures in the video games.
All right, coffee's getting.
It's like
yeah.
it's very confusing. You're right.
Well, it's at first because they don't even get their outfits until like an hour and 6 minutes into the movie. So to get that, it's kind of like I see how kids would do it. They're like, okay, like we're playing, we're just wearing regular clothes, and you're Mario, you're Luigi, you're Princess, you're two dinosaurs, and like, wouldn't kids get pissed about that? They're like, wait, where's Bowser's cousins? That's not them.
Let me one up you. In the extended cut, it's an hour and 21 minutes into the film before they get dressed, and I was like, oh, it's giving me anxiety. Just put the fucking thing on.
I know. Well, I think this was meant to be the part one, so they're showing the backstory, right? So the intention was to make more. I just can't. I don't understand how. Well, I guess because it flopped, but it's just so stupid to me that something this big could just not do well and never be thought of again. So I guess it's kind of nice that we don't have sequels because it kind of makes it more special in that way, because I feel like the sequels would just get worse and wouldn't be as
Well, I
fun
mean,
as this
they
one.
could have like that sun from Mario 3. I'm like, I'd like to have the sun as the enemy. But no, it gets weird. Like you said, I don't think the people who wrote this, ever wrote kids movies before. Because I mean, the beginning when Luigi's out of the car and then Mario's like, "Go talk to her," and then he comes out with the water and he's like, "Everyone has tap water."
Yeah.
And it was like weird. Maybe like in a sequel, if it was R-rated or something, it's like I feel like this Princess and Mario and Luigi are gonna have this weird DP scene or something like later on. Like, man, it's just weird because were they drunk like throughout filming it, or were they drunk only after? Like, it's weird because I mean their banter together is really good, but it just feels like two drunk guys a little bit.
Well, what's great is their banter is delightful the whole fucking movie. They're very close. But when Mario is standing on Luigi's boots and they're just awkwardly waving at everyone, that's some of the most awkward shit I've ever seen in my life.
I love that part. It's so cute. He's like, just get on my feet. And he jumps on.
And he just, without asking questions, like, sure. And they're just like very stiffly like junior prom, like,
Well, I mean, that's some like a Tim and Eric thing. You know, they always do the weird thing where they're like close together, like, hi, we're the married couple, hi. And they just look like this really awkward. There's this one skit they do. It's really funny, but that's what it reminded me of when they're flying off the, what was it? What are the boots called again? I remember they're called
like
something.
boosters or something.
Yeah, boosters, yeah.
Yeah.
Or thwomps. No, thwomps, because I remember they reference one of the enemies in the game.
Yeah, okay, yeah. I know. I just love like all the little touches they did, especially with the little bob-ombs, and you see them come. I'm like, oh my god, it's a bob-omb, and then they have to put the
product placement,
the bullet, or what are the thing? The bullet looking things are the cartridges in the boots to like power them up.
the bonsai bills.
Yeah. So did you notice that? I never noticed that, which I thought was so cool. Like I just realized that last night. So I'm like, oh yay.
Well, also like ridiculously cumbersome, right? If I had to load my boots every time I jumped, I just wouldn't jump.
Yeah.
Like, man, this boot gas is getting expensive.
It was the 90s technology.
Well, what do you got to think about that opening? I like the thing is, it's funny when I watch this movie and I haven't seen it for a bit. I'll watch it the opening. I'm like, oh wait a minute, this is kind of. It looks like a Macintosh game. Like remember the floppy disk games from like the early 90s
When
That's
you're
what it
going
looks
through
like.
the cave.
Yeah.
So
Like
you
that
have
dinosaur
to
animation.
Remind me, Doug, in the original, does it have the stop motion Harryhausen-esque dinosaurs?
No, it has like cartoon drawings. It looks like Drop Dead Fred opening credits.
Yeah, this is delightful. Like it's so nostalgic, but it's like it's a great transposition of like it's not your grandma's dinosaur movie. Hip kids with your backwards caps, like it goes and it's really quaint and they're all like scuttling along, and then it's like New York 65 million years ago, and then it goes into a fucking cave made out of the shit from Reboot and comes out in New York. You're like, what?
Oh, well, this opening's a little bit different, I think, because it opens to like what you think is almost like a scene from The Exorcist 2. When they go to the church and like it's this really dark, ominous lighting, and you see the nuns and like is this an exorcist?
See, it goes from this to that.
Yeah,
and it's a very staunch change. And like within the first second, I don't know if you noticed this, there's already an extended shot of her standing on the porch of the church, and I was like, oh hell yeah! Like I don't have to wait for nothing.
Yeah, like right away. I mean, even with the dinosaurs and everything, they didn't have the narration I noticed in the extended cut. The way because Bob Hoskins is narrating in the regular.
Dan Castellaneta.
Was that? Oh, was that? It sounded like Bob Hoskins. It wasn't him. Really?
Dan Castellaneta.
Oh, yeah. I did write that down, but I was like, that's not him.
Now, see, they should have made the sequel to this movie really and call it the Scapelli Brothers.
Dude,
yeah,
I would literally die to watch that.
Yeah,
but you'd be a monkey.
You're getting that drill bit down there. Are you guys picking that up? Yep.
That's fine.
Okay. So, yeah, the Scapelli brothers, they were like the opposing team of the Mario brothers. So, but they had weird insinuations, though, because when they're...
Scapelli could be Donkey Kong.
Yeah, exactly.
That'd be a great sequel.
Because he goes up to the princess and he's talking. He's like, he actually, it's kind of creepy. He goes up to her and he's like, a lot of young women like you from that college end up missing.
Yeah.
Down.
I'm like, oh God, this guy is a creep.
It's very strange. Not a big fan of that at all. And it's also, but it's good. The fact that it's like that. But even it was really cool because everything was so overt as a kid where like what he's saying isn't bad, but his performance is so lurid where I was like, even as a kid, I was like, got it. Very bad, man.
Yeah, no, I never really paid attention to what he said as a kid. Like I didn't really get it. And now watching it as an adult, I'm like, oh my God, this is terrible.
That's scary now, yeah.
Like, when you're a kid, it just goes right over your head, or maybe you're just used to people being, shitty. I don't know. But I was like, so maybe I would say like probably 10, 11, 12-year-old movie, 12. Like I would play this for my students. Like, you guys seen Super Mario Brothers? Like,
well, and it's a time capsule now. Not only can you enjoy it on the face level of like what it is, but also like what it is in time. Like because this movie failed so hard, Sonic the Hedgehog didn't come out for almost 20 years after it.
Well, I think this is better than any of those video game movies, to be honest.
100%. It's the best one. I think I said that Mortal Kombat, the first one, was like my favorite when we did the Mortal Kombat episode many moons ago. But in terms of like where I'm at in my life now, like that one might be more accurate, which is fair, but I like this one better. Like this is definitely more my flavor of weird. Like this, if you just change their names and put this out as Dino World, this would be the best fucking B movie you've ever seen.
Oh yeah, that's how I see it too. It's almost like Mars Attacks, where it's this big budget B movie, like multi-million-dollar budget. And this is the only movie you could see besides other video game movies. An old lady comes out and says, "You boys shouldn't be walking around in this neighborhood." And I'm like, "Oh, we're safe, ma'am." And she's like, "You got any guns?" "No." And then she starts pulling out the gun and zapping them. She causes a multi-car accident.
I know, they throw her over the thing.
Oh, it's great. I mean, what other movie has that? Killer granny with a gun.
I like they just threw Karen over the bridge. I love it.
Hell yeah, Bertha. That's why she's my background. She's the best.
I know, she's great. I forgot how much I loved her, and it's just so good. Like even the dance scene. Oh my god,
that's my favorite part of the whole movie,
love
where they dance in the elevator. I never stop laughing.
Oh yeah, and then Bertha gave me a weird boner too. I'm like, man, she's got the spiky arms, and you know. And what does Bob Hoskins say? He's that line. He's like, "Can you?" He's like, "I can dance with you, honey. I'll dance with you all night." And it's like, and it's cool. I wish we'd seen more of her.
Yeah.
And she comes in the beginning with the part with the old lady, and then comes out later for the dancing. Which the dancing has the best song in the world. You guys want to play some sing along?
Oh yeah, that was so good.
Go for it.
All right. Boom, boom, shakalaka laka boom, 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 shakalaka laka boom. It was a night like this 20 billion years ago. And all I remember is get up, hurry up, get on the floor. Everybody
do the dinosaur.
Yeah, that song's so like it's so. I mean, I like the song, but it's like the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2 Vanilla Ice stuff.
Oh yeah, that's what that reminded me of.
It's good.
So
But
good.
you still sing to it, like
Yes.
oh.
Now, you had mentioned Bertha. She becomes important because her titty cleavage eats the rock. And I remember being a kid, and let me ask if any of you got this. So Dennis Hopper, swear to God, I was such a fucking idiot kid. He's at the beginning when he's like hunting after Daisy's mom, who's got it going on. He's like, "Where's the rock?" And I remember being like, "It's an egg, idiot." Completely not thinking that there is clearly a rock on top of the little like bassinet for the egg.
Oh yeah.
And as I watched it as an adult, I'm like, fuck, I was so stupid. And I had this like smug attitude that I was somehow smarter than this fictional character. I will admit publicly, I am dumber than a dinosaur man.
Oh, well, hey, I mean, this, I was going to say too, I have them in my notes. Remember when they get de-evolved? So you've been de-evolved.
Yeah.
But for the brothers, when they get stuck into the de-evolver, they turn smart. I'm like, oh, they're talking like Jake now.
I love it so much.
That's the best thing I heard all day.
I have weird notes written down. I'm like, oh, I remember writing this, right?
Hell yeah. It's Fisher Stevens and Richard Edson, and they are great. Like, I would watch an entire Perfect Strangers show set on both of them just having an apartment in Brooklyn. Like, that would be the best shit ever. That would literally be the best spinoff of a movie I think I've ever seen.
Yeah, no, they're great. They're so good together, and they carry so much. They're such an integral part of the movie, and I just everything about this movie is great.
And then it subverts your expectation because you think that they've just been idiots, but they've been like purposefully incompetent this whole time. When it's revealed, oh yeah, we've actually been secret agents for your dad, the fungus, the entire time, and you're like, what?
I know, and it's like you're just happy, like you're like yes. Even as last night, I'm like, oh my god, I totally forgot about this. Like, how could I? So
and that's one of the things, like Doug kind of talking about, they almost come across as pretentious, right? They weren't evolved to be normal. They were evolved beyond normal because they were secretly normal. It's kind of the way I always took it, right? Because as soon as they have that reveal, you're like, oh shit, they were playing idiots, and now they're super smart instead of just like the rest of us.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So it's a nice little twist there with those characters, and then I just love Toad in this, and then I love that he's a sweet Goomba after that, and he goes and gets her the vegetables. I'm like, oh my god! And then he's lit on fire. I'm like, you have to save him.
I literally panicked. I was like, she is gonna put him out, right? That's not okay.
I know, because she left Yoshi. It always pissed me off when she left Yoshi, and then so at least she went back and saved Toad. So I'll give her that.
And what other
Now,
video game movie has Lena or one of the characters going there and says, "I've got the power, I know how it feels." She basically blows herself up after orgasm. What other movie does
you
that?
know what?
Yeah.
That
And she
reminds
turns
me
into
of
Bride of
Christopher
Frankenstein.
Walken. Yeah. But remember that was Christopher Walken in Batman Returns when she
Yeah.
finds him under the thing? Like, that's what it reminded me of.
Tases him to death.
Yeah.
Some
I love
romantic
that.
shit.
So good.
Doug, let me ask you this. In the original film, I don't really remember them making the joke about Mario. It's in the deleted stuff. I remember that's always a joke that we would say like on the schoolyard because it's the Mario Brothers, so his name would logically be Mario. Is that in the theatrical cut?
It is, yeah.
Okay.
Like, what's your name? Mario. Your other name? Luigi Mario.
Luigi Mario.
How many
Yeah.
Marios are there? Well, sir, there's 3. There's Mario, and Luigi Mario. So fucking funny.
Yeah, this
I know.
movie, like, and then I had notes too. It's like the fucking jail. It looks like the LA County jails. You know what I mean? It's like all stacked on top of each
12
other.
monkeys.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I was like, what the fuck? This is amazing.
Very, very, very bizarre, weird references in a kids movie. I want to stop calling it a kids movie because it's not. You know what I mean? This is like Blade Runner Junior, if you will. So.
Well, I was reading somewhere that they were saying how they were trying to make this more geared towards adults, and I don't even remember where I was reading it on. And so it kind of makes sense if they did that, because then all of these little things would just work for adults. But I feel like for kids it was fine. I mean, like
yeah,
they showed boobs in not Pretty in Pink, 16 Candles. They show her tits. And it's rated G.
Yeah, they showed boobs in Howard the Duck tits. Remember that?
Duck tits, woo.
I remember watching that with my grandma, and she's like, "Oh my!" And I'm like, "Oh wait, what are those?" She's like, "Those are fast forward in a bit." So
they're mosquito bites.
Yeah, well, I mean, this shows where a lot of movies have provocative words for adults, where we're like, I get the double entendre or whatever, but this is like those big titties. And one of the things I thought was great, so Shigeru Miyamoto, the guy who created Super Mario, and it was huge. I mean, he's the 8-bit guy, right? He was like, I think they leaned into the original faithful stuff too much. They should have gotten weird. And it's so weird to think that like this is this huge failure, but even the guy who created it was okay with the variations. And that's kind of amazing.
Well, he was probably thinking the same
cool.
thing. He really didn't have a story laid out. He's like, oh, well, hey, this was just
Exactly.
pixel art. Yeah.
It's just imagery. It's like, Doug, when you mentioned Mars Attacks, it's a perfect example because there is no narrative for Mars Attacks. Tim Burton just strung together a bunch of images from cards. And that's what this is. Mario didn't have a fucking narrative. It was just like, oh, I'm in this world now. And now I'm in this one.
And the joke's even it's so self-referencing Mario. You know, that whole joke just kind of lays out the whole movie. It's like, well, we don't know. This is what we were given.
Yeah. Well, if they're Italian plumbers, like who the hell, like what could you say about these Italian plumbers just like saving this crazy princess that's always getting her ass kidnapped, right? So, but it's just the best kind of game. I think it's for someone like who's not really into video games. I always gravitate towards Mario because it's just, side scrolling. You just go through it. You're able to get, you get to the end of the thing, you always fight the boss. This is not like for me, like that's easy for me to follow, because when it gets too involved, I'm just like, oh, I don't care. Like I'd rather watch other people play things that are just more involved than Mario. But Mario, I just genuinely enjoy it. And Yoshi's Island is so fun. It's so much fucking more harder than Super Mario Brothers, in my opinion. So if you guys have played it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yoshi's,
my favorite, I think, is Mario and Luigi All-Stars. That game blows my mind with how fun it is. I felt like a child playing it. Very much in the Super Mario RPG kind of vibe. Great stuff.
Well, and going back to what you were saying, this is like making a movie out of Miss Pac-Man or something like that. It's like, well, we don't know. Like, it's just circles and squares. Like, what?
Well, years ago, there was supposed to be a Stretch Armstrong movie. And being like, where's the movie? It's just a stretchy guy.
It's just going to be this big CGI and The Rock in there. That's what it will be. Same garbage.
Next is the Slinky movie. That's what I want to see.
Yeah.
Oh, they could make a good horror movie out of a Slinky
2: The Reckoning.
Yeah, this time it doesn't bend.
It's like, Doug, I think that your Slinky might be possessed. Why is that, Dave? Because it's going up the stairs and it's going to kill your mom.
Oh, well,
That's
joke's
fun.
on you. She's on menopause.
She's already dead. Ooh.
Yeah, you entered Ed Gein's house.
Doug's next B
And
movie.
it's the babysitter calling the police. And you hear the ching ching in the background. And she's like, what? Can you trace the call? And he's like, it's coming from inside the house. She turns around. It's the worst idea ever.
No, that would be fun. You
We'll
guys should do
pitch
it.
We'll make it a $20
Yeah,
million.
you should pitch it.
Yeah, it'll be the new Fast and
budget.
Furious series. Yeah.
21 million of the $20 million will go to you and I, and the remaining budget of negative $1 million will make the movie. Can we talk about how I actually laughed out loud like a complete dickwad when Iggy and Spike are following and he walks like Buster Keaton into the fucking plane of glass? I was like, I am an idiot child. That is not that funny, but I like snort laughed.
That was funny. I laughed on that part too when I was watching it. I was just like, oh yeah, I forgot he smashes in the glass. I mean, nowadays you hit the glass and it all shatters and stuff. Then you make it a gore movie. But
Yeah, right. It's a bunch of like glass in his face. He's like, I'm gonna get this bitch. No,
yeah.
have them be stupid. It's delightful. And what's great is they're stupid, but they're also like the plot of the movie. Because like when they're sitting in that car, they establish very quickly that they're fish out of water. They don't know what's going on. They think the hot dog's a dog. They don't know the fashion. They don't know the culture. They don't know anything without being like, hello, fellow dinosaur. I am expositing to you. Yes, fellow dinosaur. I am being exposited upon.
Mm-hmm.
It's way more highbrow than I think people give it credit for.
Yeah, for sure. They're so cute.
Yeah, it's so weird too because it does have like the lowbrow kind of like that do 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 like that kid sound music when they're driving off or there's some sort of action scene. But then you get such cool stuff like I'm like, man, these directors should have made it like a Twisted Metal movie because there's really good car stunts in here, and they all have that same wire that sparks, kind of like those bumper cars do.
Exactly.
Yeah,
that's very clever too, right? Because when you write and they go off the grid and they get caught by the fungus, like. That's just such an innovative thing to think about. But it also, even as a kid, I caught this. They're using electricity because they are dinosaurs. So they don't have gasoline to rely upon. And that's so cool to me. It's like convergent evolution.
Yeah, and that's lore you think about yourself. I'm like, whoa, that's amazing fan fiction. I got to write it down. You know what I mean? But
yeah, dude.
But yeah, it's crazy to think too because with the whole dinosaur stuff, like I said, as a kid when I first seen this, I didn't realize they were dinosaurs. And even though there were dinosaurs in this film, I still didn't know that. I thought they were just like some sort of weird lizard people. Yeah. And then the fungus, we kind of gross out stuff, but I always thought it was foot fungus because he makes the foot fungus line, and I'm like, that's like skin bacteria. Fucking gross.
Well, it also does look very fleshy, and it looks like you've got skin flakes, and you're stretching it to bounce people.
Mm-hmm.
Can I ask you guys, do either of you have a favorite verbal joke? We've talked a lot about visual imagery. I have a favorite verbal joke that I want to crowbar into reference, if I may. So this is going to give you time to think about it.
Sure.
Favorite lines of the film, because my favorite set piece is obviously the elevator, like we discussed. It's when Luigi freaks out and he's like, there used to be dinosaurs in Brooklyn? And Bob Hoskins says, relax, there used to be Dodgers here too. Wow.
Let me see. Hold on.
And that's one of the things that made this movie feel like it was made for me, because we grew up, my family's had season tickets to the Dodgers my whole life. I've had a very fleeting interest in baseball, but I knew the reference, and it was like, holy shit, you mixed dinosaurs, video games, and the Dodgers. Like, it felt like one of those things of like that serendipity.
Yeah, I like when Dennis Hopper kind of comes up and he's like, look, a Goomba, smart, loyal, strong, stupid.
Oh.
What do
no
you
pressure, Aid. We're waiting.
I don't know. Well, I was looking. I was trying to like look up what Toad was singing, because I feel like, and Toad is like so progressive, and he gets like arrested for like singing against the government. Like,
he's a Woody Guthrie, man.
I love it. And he was singing like something like, there ain't no water anywhere, food's bad, so is the air, got no resources. It's a great big stupa, all because of the evil King Koopa.
Yeah, you can't be talking about that. He's like, how dare you talk about the I can't even get into politics here. But
I know.
Well, stay away from this one. And it's easy to do. Vote Koopa. Who does that look like?
I know.
Let me ask you
it was
a question.
So out of its time.
I'm not going to say I'm for one politician over another, but let's look at the 2016 and 2020 elections and who visually looks like, sounds like, and acts like Koopa more.
I think we
have our
know.
conclusion.
We don't have to say it because it's pretty obvious.
My second favorite line of the film. He's not going to kill us. He's not that nice, says Iggy.
Oh, yeah.
Mwah. Very good line.
Oh yeah. Well, see, look, this movie has so much layers on it. It's great. Like for those people, like I said, I'm not going to go through the list before, but those people who say like, "Oh, that's a bad movie," and they've never seen it because some online critic says something. Yeah, you know what? Your asshole's so tight. God damn it, you need like a crowbar to help you shit. Yes. It's like seriously, like enjoy the fucking movie and watch it for yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and it's not just a bastardization. It's like a subversion. And I think that's something a lot of people miss in this. Do you think it's a coincidence that Toad, the shortest member of their posse, is the tallest member of their posse? Do you think like so many of these things are like just, it feels like, yes, I know what you're doing. And yes, I'm subverting it, but they're doing it in a way where it's, I have to do this. I'm sorry. I fucking hate The Last Jedi. It's the worst fucking movie I've ever seen in my life. I fucking hate it. It makes me so fucking mad because it makes you feel stupid for caring about something. I don't even fucking like Star Wars. I'm a Star Trek guy. But like, I knew I would hate that movie from the first moment when Luke just pithy throws the lightsaber behind him and walks away and is basically like, this is meaningless and stupid. But this movie doesn't make it feel stupid. It's just a different thing. Am I completely crazy in analogizing these two things?
No, you've awakened tier 3, Jake.
This isn't even my final form.
Well, good. Now I can hashtag Star Wars in the descriptions.
There we go.
Yeah, put Star Putas. Star Putas.
But does that make sense? What I'm saying? Because like obviously this is very subversive to the source material.
Yeah.
But I don't feel like I'm made to feel like an idiot for it. Whereas with The Last Jedi, it feels like Rian Johnson's like trying to be the smartest person in the room and go, wouldn't it be great if just you felt stupid for thinking that this magic space wizard would act like a magic space wizard instead of a cranky dad who has to work a 9 to 5?
Yeah, did you expect Luke Skywalker to be like Freddy Got Fingered's dad? You know what I mean?
Yes,
Like,
he's ripped torn.
Yeah.
Exactly. He even has a facial hair.
you're gonna eat that goddamn chicken sandwich. I paid $10 for that on the other planet, you asshole.
And that's why they're eating the fucking penguin things, is because it's a chicken sandwich.
Oh my God.
Okay, I feel like maybe you guys aren't as passionately into that analogy, so we'll move on. What do we think of the concept of de-evolving? That's scarier than death to me.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, no, I mean, the last thing I want to be is a piece of fungus. I think about that. I'm like, oh God, you thought quarantine was bad. Wait till you're fungus.
You're gonna get eaten by some hippie out in the woods, and it's gonna be an excuse for them to like fondle themselves weirdly.
Well, hey, then we wouldn't have the Gen Zers now.
Well,
Oh my God. Well, that always scared me. I remember like having nightmares, like thinking like something could come down and like turn me into a Goomba or something. So and it always made me feel so bad for Toad. Like, why Toad? Like, why are we turning Toad into the Goomba? I'm so sad. Because Toad is my favorite. I'm always Toad in Mario Kart. Like, when someone else tries to pick Toad, I will fucking fight you to the death. Like, you will not be Toad. I'm always Toad. So, like, it's bittersweet because
Now, what if I'm Toad and I just change the color?
you could be Toad.
like that tall Toad.
Yeah, I know you can change like the color of them. It's like, no, I want to be player 1, player 2. I got to change the color of my Mario or something. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know if you do that with Toad.
You can't do that with Toad. You can be Toad or Toadette. But I call Toad. Anyways, Double Dash was so fun. Wasn't that fun? Remember you could switch them on the cart?
Yeah, I remember Double Dash,
Totally.
yeah.
That was so fun.
Well,
I need
like
that
the
back
one
in
on
my
the
life.
Switch. The one on the Switch is really fun.
I know. I need to get one. I'm like so behind.
Yeah,
I'm old.
yeah, you can
Or an
get it.
emulator.
Yeah, because now you can play Destroy All Humans on the Switch, and if you want a real fun alien game where you're like the Martians and Mars Attacks, Destroy All Humans is on the Switch. And we weren't
What's
paid
pretty-
for that advertisement.
Well, the Steam Deck thing, what's hilarious is if you look at it, like the base model, the storage is so minimal that you couldn't play any of like the Class A games or whatever. So it's basically just an emulator like I have. You have to spend like $600 or $700 to have like something with some, enough storage to play those things, which it can do, which is cool. But yeah, I think I might actually snag one of those just because the connectivity is so much better than my rinky-dink things. Because I have the Retroid Pocket 2 and the Pocket Go 2, and those are awesome. Highly recommend.
But now do you have the most important one, the pocket pussy?
Not anymore, because I have people who go through the drawers of my house.
There you go. I had to fit that line in somewhere.
Let me ask you a question. Now, when it comes to Toad being changed, does it frustrate you that he doesn't stay as big a character and he only has the vignettes? Because it always marveled me how great the puppetry was in his face. And what's crazy, and this shows you like what a little like film nerd I was. I've had multiple Gremlins books and stuff as a kid, and I knew that when they did the close-ups of Gizmo, that thing was fucking huge. It was like 3 feet by 5 feet, which is, well, might be an exaggeration, but it was a very big face to get those animatronics. But they do the ones for Toad when he's the Goomba head, it's so static and small. It shows this is a little fucking thing the size of Gizmo's head that has this great emotive capacity where you're like, I feel bad for you. I feel sorry. I'll eat the steak. I'll eat the steak. You don't have to go, little beautiful boy.
Oh yeah, no. And that's the thing. He's so endearing as the Goomba too. So it's like, do we have more of Toad as a person, or then we wouldn't have him as the Goomba as much. So like, which is the better version? I don't know.
Who's to say?
He's adorable though. Oh, now I feel bad. And then he brought her the vegetables. I'm never gonna get over that. That's so sweet.
And you said this is the movie that helped you become vegan, Jake?
Probably. When you see Yoshi get kicked, I remember being like, "Oh no, you didn't."
Yeah, and they say a line too. Maybe it's only in this cut. I don't know, but she's like, "Say I can't eat anything with a face." Because that puts it more into perspective. And then you get a shot of the Goomba. I'm like, ugh. I don't want to eat that.
Oh, and like Yoshi's, I like how they made Yoshi like more of a more like a dinosaur than like a cartoony type thing too. Like but he's still so cute though. He's adorable like that. So I thought that was a nice little touch. And I didn't like. I mean, like Hoopa was trying to say that he would bite her, so she was afraid of him at first. I'm like, that's so sad. Like he's not going to bite you. So I don't know.
That wasn't a fart. I'm trying to move.
No, dude, you ripped ass hard.
And I'm like, oh, Doug's in the bathroom. I forgot.
Oh, no.
No, Dougie, own it. That was butt toot.
Oh my God.
I blame
hate you guys.
Starbucks coffee. What the fuck you doing to me?
So let's get into some of the effects towards the end. So we have the electrocution with the whole meteorite thing. Doug, in your version, I don't remember this at all, but also, whatever, I was a dumb kid and 9/11 hadn't happened yet. Is there footage of the Twin Towers being demolished in the original movie?
If it was, I don't remember seeing it. It was probably something small in the background.
In the extended cut, it gets fucking destroyed and then rebuilt when the worlds separate.
Oh, no, I got to get a copy of your pirated copy. This one is... What the fuck is this now? I need to see the full version.
Hey, did you miss that? You're looking at me perplexed.
I didn't like. I only watched it so long, and then I put the other old one on because I can't just watch it on my phone. So I got through to like I think middle of the movie. But no, oh my God, you can't put that out now.
It's awesome. I was shocked.
I mean, a lot of things had that. Didn't Rocko's Modern Life have the Twin Towers falling down?
Spider-Man had the famous promo where it was the web between the Twin Towers that caught the helicopter. There's all sorts of fun stuff.
Yeah, they used to drop you off. Remember in the ride, they used to drop you off the Twin Towers, and they had to change that.
Awkward.
I know, but no, in the regular one, they do show the towers turning into the towers from the DINOhattan. So.
Well, I guess that Yeah, kind of what
So
I'm
they
talking
kind
about.
of they're kind of destroyed, right?
Yeah, it's not like they blow up, but it's like, oh, that's not good. You shouldn't do anything to those things.
No.
So I
Yes.
guess it's safe to say that Morton and Jankel were in the Taliban.
Maybe.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, probably.
The look on both of your faces of like, don't do it, Jake.
well, no, I mean, like Yoda even said the same thing to them. Oh, who is it? Yeah, Morton and Jankel. They were like, the Jews were told to stay home on 9/11. I don't know, some weird like that. They're probably like in the inner circle of that. Whether it's an inside job or not, I'm like, I don't know. Like the conspiracies are interesting, but I do have a feeling they probably Morton and Jankel probably did contribute to that.
The evil cabal that rules the world. One of my favorite bits, you gotta love Koopa being like, where's my pizza? Ordering the pizza.
Yeah.
And then he turns into slime. The pizza guy's like, here's your fucking pizza. Hey. Such a good bit. And it's so dumb, but it's so satisfying.
It's so cute.
And I think at this point, I have one legitimate gripe with the film, and let me ask if it bothers you. When King, quote unquote, Bowser turns normal, Lance Henriksen himself, there's a delightful little factoid that he coughs out Rice Krispies treats. It was his idea, so to be like the phlegm. It makes no sense. He doesn't get evolved. He doesn't go into the machine. He just is magically not a mushroom anymore. Does that imply he could have not been a mushroom the rest of the time? Because it's not clearly related to the meteorite. What do you think? Does that frustrate you?
It didn't really bother me. I just thought it was like a fun final boss type thing. I don't know. It was entertaining to me. And like I said, this is a good mix between a kid's movie and a stoner movie. So,
Yeah.
Whatever.
So final. Oh, go.
No. I was just saying, how would they put the fungus in the thing? Like they couldn't put it all back in the thing. Right?
Well, they don't put the entire person in the thing. They just put their head in.
Yeah, but I guess his head would be the ball sack coming down.
Well, that's a question about fungi, but that is clearly anyway.
Well,
I get it.
Talk about the mushroom head. Don't do that. Don't do that.
Yeah, the fungus, or it's either a fungus or prolapsed anus. I don't know.
Oh my God.
I've had hemorrhoids who look more regal than that king. Now, I have to ask you a question. Is President Trump, Koopa, is he such a bad guy? His means are not great, but if you are a moral relativist, the ends justifying the means, he isn't that bad of a guy because he wants his people to have resources, clean air, food. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, King Koopa probably would have mandated the mask faster because he's a germaphobe. So, hey,
that's true. Yeah.
That's actually a very valid point. So, yeah, I just, what's great is like, he's the best kind of villain. He's Doctor Doom. He's Magneto. He's evil, but he's completely vindicated in being evil. He's the guy who you can never turn. He's Zod from the Man of Steel, where Man of Steel's like, I don't want to fucking kill you. I want to resuscitate you. And he's like, I'm going to laser these people, fuck boy. And he has to get his neck broken because it's like, you're a rabid dog. I got to put you down.
No, but yeah, it's great. Like I said, I can't sing this movie's praise enough because Dennis Hopper is just a lot of fun. So if you like Texas Chainsaw 2 when he starts going down underneath the caves, yeah, this is him 100%. So I love it.
About space truckers, same kind of big dick energy from that.
Yeah.
And big dick energy reminds me of our guest for today's interview from Edge. This is Destin, and we talk about dinosaurs and shit. I found him because he has a great YouTube channel where he talks about fucking cryptids and all sorts of things. He's a beautiful person. Enjoy our chat. That was my chat with Destin of Edge, which stands for something, but as a straight edge guy, I have to be like, Edge, I'm brutally edge.
Yeah, and luckily I didn't fart on the interview this time. I'm sorry, guys, when I'm stuck in the bathroom sitting on the toilet, what do you think happens?
What was your favorite movie from this month? Now, it doesn't have to be your favorite of, but just from the rewatching for the show and following along with Julyssic Park, what was the best?
It's so hard because I love Super Mario Brothers, and then I recently love Tammy and the T-Rex. So I don't know. It's weird because watching this, it brings me back to like childhood years. So Tammy and T-Rex didn't do that for me because that's kind of like the new like punk hipster like, oh, Tammy and T-Rex is cool. But now this, I don't know. It's weird. I think I'd probably levitate maybe towards this one because it's so weird, and every time I watch it, there's something new I didn't pick up on last time.
Yeah, I don't know. Like I'm with you, Doug, because choosing between Tammy and the T-Rex, I will say Tammy and the T-Rex just to not, repeat Super Mario Brothers because I've seen it a million times. I was really happy that you introduced me to Tammy and the T-Rex because I probably never would have watched it if, I wasn't doing this with you guys. So I'm just going to pick that one. And Paul Walker's midriff is adorable.
I liked everything else. I mean, I still love Jurassic Park. Don't get me wrong; it's like one of the best movies ever. But like, it is just like one of those kind of god tier movies. It's almost like I have it so memorized. I don't really get excited to rewatch it. It's just kind of like I'm rewatching it. This movie, like, it's so batshit and it's so weird that I've rewatched this several times in the last few years. It still felt new, and not just because I was watching an extended cut. There's still stuff I'm sure was in the theatrical where I was like, oh my god, I can't believe I missed that. Like the rock from the titties. So I'm gonna go with this. I watched Carnosaur as a kid. I watched Jurassic Park as a kid. I watched Tammy the T-Rex, albeit the not rated R version as a kid, and nothing compared to the absolute batshitness of this. And it was so exciting. And also, in terms of film production and the shit that I like, it's such an enigma how this got made. And that's one of the things that we were kind of like a little wary about doing this because it's become very pop culture chic to like look down your nose and do a dissection of this film and the production. But it's a treasure trove. Look at all the weird shit that went into this, and it's a lot of meat on this boner.
Yeah, and it's one of those things too, like how I grade my own movies, like to watch and stuff I love. I'd say like if it's a B movie, if it's really fun, I love it. And in fact, people get weird with me. It's a hot take, but I think Aliens is better than Alien. I'm one of those people that's like, if it's fun and entertaining and rewatchable, like Tammy and the T-Rex and Super Mario Brothers, they're great B movie. Just fun. Like bring some friends over, watch them. It's a hell of a fun time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I think that's one of the great things about us all as content creators and friends is it's like, even if we don't agree, we respect each other and we're just excited about film and stuff where it's like, I don't necessarily agree that Aliens is better, but I can totally understand your argument, and your argument doesn't invalidate how I feel. So I think a lot of people get into that like, oh, well, if this person doesn't like and also film reviewers, you don't have to agree. There are plenty of times where I watch film reviewers where I'm like, oh God, that's just the exact opposite of how I feel. But I'm like, no, I'm definitely right. This movie totally slaps. So if you don't agree with us and you think this movie sucks, great. That's part of the fun about, the gamble of watching a movie. Otherwise, you would just only immerse yourself in the stories and experiences you yourself already have. A shared narrative does that, says the guy who's reading the storytelling animal. But anyway, that's a book. And books remind me that we have a smiley little girl on our show who wrote a book.
Oh, look at it.
And so if I'm honest, Adrian, I'm on page.
There's no page numbers that didn't.
No, I flipped past the acknowledgments. I finished the acknowledgments. And I read on Saturday Night Terrors on B Movie TV the first 2 lines of your book.
Oh, God, no.
I'm reading like 5 books right now. And so I will be reading yours. But I'm also reading one about Norse mythology, about Don Quixote meeting the Knights Templar, the storytelling. So it's one of the 5. So it will be gotten.
The other ones sound a lot more intellectual than this one, so feel free to just put this one aside for now.
Well, ours is coming in the mail. We don't have Amazon Prime, so we do it the cheap way. So we got to get $35 in the cart and then ship it. So it's coming.
Oh, well, if you ever need Prime for anything, just let me know, Doug. I'll be happy to ship you. I live on Amazon, which I know is terrible.
And that exclusive offer extends to anybody who buys this book. Just let Adrian know, and she'll use her Prime to send it to you. But we do have an offer if you buy a copy of Last Call, A Toxic Love Story by one Adrian Santiago. You get every fucking Patreon episode we've ever done, which has a monetary value of... So
I think it's a really good incentive, honestly, because some of the Patreon episodes are really good. So you guys are going to get 2 treats for the price of 1. My amazing classic literary tale and all of our amazing Patreon episodes.
Oh, yeah. I'm excited to read it, too, because, all you Patreon viewers out there, I'm sure you love the cheese, man. And this one's just full of cheese. I can hear the... Yeah, Hira's always watching La Rosa de Guadalupe, so when it starts, it does like that. Telemundo presenta Chisme.
All right. You know how we did the Carnosaur thing? Where we're like, hey, we'll get 1,000 downloads and we'll read this book. We didn't get 1,000. It's not close. Sometimes we don't get to choose who we love.
No.
Sometimes we get dealt a hand that is different from what we ever thought we'd want. See? If we sell 1,000 copies of this book, we'll do an audio book. Skank faces.
Well,
Yes.
it's two perspectives. It bounces back between a guy and a girl. So Jake could be the
And a
guy
pizza place.
and Doug could be the girl. And how fun would that be?
That's the way I would describe our relationship presently, right, Doug?
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, I still got your hot sauce I haven't brought over. And I got a bunch of shit I got to bring you. So.
Oh, man. But in all honesty, I love that narrative style. Since I was a kid, I've been obsessed with it. Redwall by Brian Jacques does that, where it's Matthias and then it's Clooney the Scourge. And I think that's such a great tension building dynamic that we often lose in books that we have in movies. I mean, if you think about like the structure of a movie, Thomas Harris does it to an extent, but yeah, I love that. So great stuff, even if it's not glorifyingly horrifying. Doug, we already know how to get more Adrian, but how do people get more Doug and Jake?
Oh,
Fuck boy.
Yeah, if you guys got a Roku, dust that off, stop fanning your nuts, and turn on B Movie TV on Roku. It's a free channel. I'm on Friday Night Action at 8 p.m. We got a new episode today. Actually, well, fuck, every Friday at 8 o'clock. And then Jake's on Saturday Night Terrors at 10 p.m. on B Movie TV. And yeah, they've got great stuff. It's and then Death Park, The End, the director, the guy who runs the channel, directed a film, and that's coming out August 12th. So you can watch it on B Movie TV, buy the Blu-ray, and it's going to be showing at, if you are San Pedro locals, any of you San Pedro ones out there? Well, there's a theater, Terra Cinemas. It'll be August 12th, so you can get your tickets online. August 12th is when they have it. So yeah, you can see all of us here. We're all sitting down and running around like crazy. So
I'm standing. I've been doing my standing desk this whole time, so I am standing around. Thank you very much.
Oh.
no wonder. Are you standing too, Aid? Because I feel like I look like a bloated blob.
No,
I feel like I don't have
I'm
a double
sitting.
chin for once, which is really, really nice.
I got mine. The beard just hides it.
No,
But to Doug's
yeah.
point, I'll also be there. I'm quite certain. So you could see two of us. And if you bring your copy of Last Call, A Toxic Love Story, you can get two hosts to sign it who had nothing to do with the production of it.
Well, your names are in it, so there's that. Yay.
They are.
We're like the advertising team, so we'll say, "Hey, I know we didn't write the story, but here, like, would you go? Like, hey, can you go sign my copy of Super Mario Brothers? What did you do?
You know,
Well,
we'll give you Aid's personal address and you can ship it to her. How about that?
Well, you know what? No, because this is the thing. If you like, this is the tangible thing that you guys can sign because you can't really sign a podcast, right? So there you go.
Well,
You
we
get-
can
Sign
sign it
some
right here.
titties.
Yeah, it's like A.
Oh, yeah, you could.
It's just sing your name, and then that'll be like a sound signature there.
Oh,
So-
yeah. You can give us
Ah.
power of attorney and we can do your signatures for you.
Yeah,
Duh.
I'll just send you a stamp.
And
There
your
we go.
Credit card information and PIN, please.
Yeah. And also the street you grew up on.
Yeah, right away. Right on top
All
of that
right.
rose.
Well, this has been a hell of a lot of fun. I'm very proud of us for Julyssic Park. You know, we had some foibles when it came to the month of May, and that kind of lingered into June. And I feel that this is some of the best content we've ever created. It's obviously very self-indulgent because I love dinosaurs. Doug, what is ahead in the month of August?
Oh, August, you guys ready to get your whirly gigs on to get some alien films? Holy shit. And we even got an interview with, well, I don't know if we should blow it here, but for all
Do it.
All right, Gorehead fans, all you Gore people, we got Hunter Jackson. We're interviewing him, and we're going to stick him on the Mars Attacks episode because, you know, technically Techno-Destructo is an alien, right? Or a scumdog of the universe.
He is. We confirm it. We even talk about where he is in the cosmos on the episode. So that's pretty bitchin'.
Very cool.
But I have some things. I have a thing. So Alan, we love you, Alan. He beat me. He beat me bad. We had talked about doing all sorts. I send these fuckers puns all the time of like theme months. Souptember, and we do all superhero or what have you. And it was the plan of August was going to be Walk Among Us, which is more of a Misfits reference than anything, but it was pretty good. Alan came up with the month. Are you ready to have it unveiled on the episode completely blind? And I did not consult you on it. I've just decided what it is.
Si, senor.
2001, A Space Augusty. Son of a bitch.
What movies does that entail?
All the alien shit, because it's aliens, and it's great, and he beat me. I'm not as clever, but I also have a podcast, so take that, Alan. Maybe you can come on and we can talk about it.
Yeah. So you can come on. It'll be the weekly warm-up. You remember that?
Oh, my God.
I
missed the weekly warm-ups, but that also took a lot of time to put all together. So if you want those back, let us know. slasherspod@gmail.com. For Adrian, for Doug, for myself, for Alan, apparently. My name is Jake saying goodbye and good die.